What's up, guys? It's Caden from MACkite.
And Ryan.
And we're going to talk to you today about mast height. Yeah, so right here we have 72 and 82 centimeter mast. And yeah, so like behind the boat, especially, what have you found is like your best height for it?
Yeah, so I would say for the most part, you're going to want something in the 70 to 85 range on the upper
I would
end
definitely agree.
for riding behind the boat. A common question when people are getting started, they're asking, what size should I get? Do I want the 70? Do I want the 85?
Right.
Maybe there's something in between. So what kind of are the advantages and disadvantages to each size is what we're trying to cover in this video to help you guys make that decision early on, or maybe you've got a mast and you're looking at changing it and you want to know what it's going to change performance-wise for you or how it's going to feel different.
And then there's some brands that even offer like we're talking like a 40, 50, like 60, like below a 70 mast, and just like, are those really like the ones to go for? I mean, personally, I think like you just said, a 70 to 85 centimeter mast is perfect. It gives you enough room where you're not just gonna like wing out right away. Your mast height is good enough where you're not like doing like a balancing act on like a unicycle, because like once you get over 90, it just gets a little bit tough that way. But yeah, so right here we have the 72 and the 82. So personally, I think I would say for both of us, we're at the level where we're like carving through the wave, like winging behind the boat, whatever. When you have more mast height, that actually just gives you more room to work with. So what does that mean? Again, so like if you're making a turn on a really short mast, you're like oftentimes your wing will come out or your board will hit the water. On a longer mast, you have more room to actually turn. So like your turn radius, like you can like get down like if your foil is like 82, you can make a harder banking turn compared to one that's like even shorter with with the water slapping that at the board. I was on a 72 the other day trying to pump, and that was so tough for me. So I'm at the point now where I strictly ride anything above 80. But for anybody just like getting into it, I think a 70 and above is perfect for you.
Yeah, so that 80 to 85 range, what you're looking at as far as advantages go there are you can carve sharper and your wings aren't going to come out of the water.
Right.
And you've got more room to work with when you're pumping.
Exactly.
When you're pumping around in flat water, but then also I would say like wake-to-wake transfers.
Oh, yeah.
You turn around and you go and you want to go, say you're in second wake and you want to pass third wake and go to fourth wake, you've got more mast height here to get through that wake before you hop on the next one. So.
And then another thing that people don't think about is like, so usually people have a wakeboarding or a wake surf background. So when the boat turns around, now you're going back at what your boat created. Cutting through the water, people kind of forget, but like I kind of call it the Wile E. Coyote effect, because like your foil will be here and the wave will be down here, and then at a certain point your foil pops out and then you're gonna go down. So yeah, mast height, having a longer mast cutting through chop is also huge. So like say you're on like a busy like 4th of July weekend, there's a lot of like choppy boat wake, having a longer mast will always help you. And now foils are getting so efficient underwater that having more mass underwater is not really going to drag you down as much. You can still carve, like the same amount as like mid mast to high mast to low mast riding on that foil. But
yeah, so disadvantage of the longer mast. What's the one downside to having a longer foil mast?
As you saw on that wing below us here, hitting sandbars is not very fun. Shallow water in lakes, even like an ocean, weeds, you pick them up. Yeah, your foil's going to be down there longer. Once you get better and better, like we saw Tucker, he actually pumped, I think he was like 2 feet from shore. Somehow he was like avoiding that. So it really depends on your foil skills. You can be in like this much water, and as long as your foil is still in it, yeah, you are fine. But yes, having a longer mast, you are more likely to hit, a rock, a reef, seaweed, whatever. So if you have a more shallow lake or like ride area, going to the 70, that might help you just enough where you're not going to lose out on that performance. Like versus like a 40, 50, or like 60 centimeter mast.
Yeah, performance-wise on the longer mast height, it's a little bit less reactive, a little slower reaction because you're a little further away from the foil that you're actually riding. So the shorter mast is going to be a little more reactive. Obviously, you don't have as much clearance there, but it is a little easier to carve harder with a shorter mast because you're closer to the actual foil.
Right.
Another advantage is while you're learning, that in itself could be a pretty big advantage.
Right.
You're more reacting to the foil. It's reacting to you in a lot quicker time span. You don't have to anticipate as much as you might have to with, let's say, an 85 centimeter mast.
Exactly.
So there is an advantage of the shorter mast for people that are especially just getting started out. And they're trying to figure out how the whole system works.
So going into that, like starting out, what would you say is the ideal height? Should I be going for that 40, 50, or 60? Or should I just like totally skip that, grab my 70, put it all the way back on that track box?
Yeah, I would say with the efficiency and stability and just the performance that you get out of these foils now, you don't necessarily need to start with that 40 centimeter. That used to be a thing. Yeah. I'd say it's more a thing of the past. Most people are starting with offering something around that 70 centimeter range. Yeah. And that seems to be a pretty good height to get most people on for learning. In progression as well, 70 centimeters is still high enough where you can start to learn how to ride the wake. Right. You're not completely out of it when you're trying to hop in the wake and ride the wake. It's not like you have to upgrade the 70 centimeter as soon as you get to a certain point. I would say the point that most people are probably looking to upgrade from a 70 to an 80, 85 is when they're starting to do a lot more pumping.
Right. And then another thing for like the learning aspect, having a 70 centimeter mast is a lot better than having an 80 like an 80 plus, because when you're learning, again, a lot of these boaters, they have a wake surf, wakeboard, ski background. All the weight is on their back foot. So the faster they go, they'll go up higher and higher and higher and higher. And then it really depends on how far you want to fall. So I have been on some pretty tall masts, and I've fallen from some great heights. Learning wise, yeah. So I would say there's definitely a window. We talked about it earlier. Between like 70 and 85 is about perfect. That's like a good spot where you're not going to be falling down like a crazy height. But yeah, just on those shorter masts, I just find when I'm teaching people, they just wing out so much faster. And what is winging out? That's just when your foil comes out and you see a splash, kind of like the bucking bronco we talked about in like a previous video. But it's just like it is kind of a tough question. Like, do I go with do I go with a shorter one, or do I keep that window, or I call it the margin of error, where I have like more area to actually work with? So I would say the window is definitely like the middleman is probably like a 75 to 80. That's like about perfect, learning wise and performance wise.
And another advantage to going with a little bit shorter mast when you're starting out is when you do get to the point where you're ready to hop in the wake. Right. The biggest mistake people make when they start hopping in the wake and trying to ride the wake is their foil is way down there. Yeah. It's way too far. They're not getting any push from the wake, and they're really struggling because their foil is super low in the water. Put it on a shorter mast, automatically, even if you're only riding your board a foot off the water, that's bringing that foil up closer to that power zone in the wake that you want to be in. So naturally, the shorter mast just puts you in that pocket that you want to be in behind a boat a little easier. Right,
and again, and it's not even that short. Like, it's still a pretty good length for you too.
Yeah, yep. So a quick little recap, why you might want a shorter mast, kind of around that 70 centimeter range. New rider, starting out, it's easier to learn with. Your foil is going to be a lot more reactive, because it's going to react quicker to you, so you get that more immediate feedback. Yeah. And once you start progressing into the wake, it's going to be easier to start riding that wake. Definitely. Reason that you might want the longer mast?
I would just say more fun. Turning, carving, I would like that's really I'm sorry, I'm very biased about it, but man, it's just a lot more fun, especially if you're not worried about like your depth, like how shallow the water is. Just pumping on it, like you're not going to wing out it as much, a bigger margin of error, as I mentioned. Yeah, again, I think the perfect size for everybody is an 80 on the dot. And yeah, and even like learning wise, a great strategy, you can take whatever mast, just put it all the way back on that big board you have, like a 4-5 board, put it all the way back on that track box, and just keep your feet in front of that foil. And that foil will be, it'll treat you very nicely. It'll not be scary. So yeah, but
there you go. Yeah. If you guys have any questions about what specific foil you might want for wake or wing or para or anything else that we do here, it doesn't have to be just wake specific. But any foil questions, definitely reach out to us. Leave us an email, send us a phone call. We're here to help you guys out. We'd love to hear about what your favorite mast height is for foiling behind the boat in the comments below, so please leave that.
Please load up the comments. Tell us about your success, like coaching, riding. Let us know in the comments below. Feel free to like, subscribe, and yeah, we'll see you guys later.
This has been Ryan.
And Caden from MACkite.